Hello, my name is Syed Sadaman and I've been working on NiceDot for the last 1.5 years. If you don't know what NiceDot is, it is my passion project. NiceDot is my attempt at changing the world with technology for good. NiceDot would be, when completed as a project, a new revolutionary operating system which will change how we use mobile phones and in the future, hopefully, other devices. This is the first part of our annual event Dotted 2021. We will be releasing the second part in a few weeks where I will be talking more about what we've reached. Today I want to talk about our plans. Our plans are revolutionary. We want to think down to earth, but still keep dreaming. And that is the spirit of what NiceDot wants to achieve. In the future, we want to develop devices that can do good for society. These devices have the potential to be used by millions of users. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about our device for the future, the dot phone. The dot phone will change how we use mobile phones because it is a revolution. It is my attempt at condensing the best features but with a level of constraint that could help us make it more accessible. The dot phone, I tell you, will not have any crazy specifications. I am not promising 12 gigabytes of RAM or a 200 megapixel camera. No. But I will promise you it will be great quality without the high prices that come with good phones these days. I want to create a phone, a prototype that will work just as well as a phone that costs upward of 1 lakh rupees but can still cost under the price of the normal budget smartphone these days. Let me talk a little bit more about what we plan to do with NiceDot in this phone. Because this is an original device that we will either manufacture in the future or we will cooperate with another OEM, original equipment manufacturer, we wanted to build something that was perfect. Not in the sense that it fulfilled everything, but it had the perfect amount of everything good. It had the perfect amount of camera. Not too much so that it is just crazy, or not so low that it is not functional. A device that is functional and that can give you higher productivity than ever. My attempt at this was basically to think of the phone as something that had both a soul and a body. The soul of a smartphone is basically the software. The body of the smartphone is the hardware. Most of the times when we are buying a smartphone these days, we only think about the body. We only think about how big the camera is or how big the battery is, how much RAM there is, or how big a memory card it can fit. We don't think about the soul. It's like if we judged people on the basis of how fit they were before considering their character at all. There needs to be a balance of the body and soul in order to exist in real life. And I think that same philosophy applies to NiceDot when it comes to developing and creating such prototypes. When we will be ready with a prototype, we want it to be good. We want it to have a good amount of soul and a good amount of body. Doing things unnecessarily, which can be done with software through hardware, is my pet peeve. And I wanted to eliminate this by creating a software that can do more things while working with boundaries of hardware. The software that I want to create for a hypothetical future phone should be good. It should be optimized and shouldn't run lightly. You see, even if I put these many features, then you'll have to splurge for a higher end processor, and this processor will then end up costing a lot. which increases the cost of the product. No, a lower end processor can still run these features, and for this, there are two key words: optimization as well as lightness. Let's move on to what I plan to be a specification sheet if the prototype was to be made today. If this prototype was made today, I would want it to not have a crazy camera, but I would want features like maybe image stabilization or bokeh effect and all these things which make our photos better. That is just one example of how phones can be improved by just looking at the software. Speaking of software, let's talk about developing. We're working on developing something that's greater and better than ever. And so, we wanted to create something that could do everything while still working with the constraints. For this, you have to develop well. And when you even develop the operating system, the OS, you still need developers to work with you and create apps that can work. Many OSs have failed because the developers weren't ready to build apps for them. Either they were closed source, that meant that they did not allow developers to access the code of the operating system, or either they were working with too saturated a market. NiceDot OS wants to defeat those constraints and get developers to work with us. And we are creating a developer toolkit that will help you develop. Okay, now let me talk the last about how this will work. We want to create something that's better, that's faster, that can give you more quality. Before I end, I wanted to share something with you. Making software is hard. Making software takes time, resources, and your heart's love. And for that, I want you to help me. All you have to do is go down in the comments and talk about one feature you would love to see in a phone that was more affordable. If you could do that, that would be great, because that will help me to understand what are your biggest issues and wants when it comes to buying a phone, as well as buying a phone with a certain operating system. Let me again remind you that half of the population does not have access to the internet in this world. More than half of the population doesn't own a smartphone. A few of them own future phones enabled by the internet, but this is the reality, and I want to change this. I want technology to be accessible. Technology opens doors, and I want to open many doors as possible. Defeat the gatekeepers and open the doors of technology for many people to come. Soon, we will be launching our second part of this Dotted 2021 event, where we will discuss more about what we have done. Till then, keep track, put the comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.